Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another edition of First Look. And in this edition of First Look, I'll be doing First Look UFC Fight Night, Cara France versus Albazi. I was going to say France, but hey, y'all want to call it Cara France, use the both parts. So Cara France versus Albazi, I'll use it. So Cara France versus Albazi, UFC Fight Night, Cara France versus Albazi. So First Look, UFC Fight Night, Cara France versus Albazi. So I've been, modifying the name before I go wrong, where I went wrong, this, that, and third. So First Look, it is. And I'm not also not this is a case of where this is just my initial picks. Matter of fact, this is probably not gonna be many picks at all. It's more so gonna be analyzing, kind of just generalizing the fight, how it could go, maybe, and maybe a decent bet before I guess the odds fully come out for these fights. So yeah, this is gonna be really rough bets almost. Generally, just scanning over the fights, and then maybe some rough bets that might cash for these fights, in the future. And obviously, when lines come out, that might be a good bet, but I mean, mine is 10 million, so like, it's not a playable. But just generally look at it, what could look like it could be a good play. That's what I'm looking at right here on this before I go. First look video right now, and I'm not doing no picks, so nobody can say, "Oh, you made these picks." This video was never about actually being my final picks. It was really just my rough picks. Then I will come with my quick picks, which are my real picks, and my final picks, my full card prediction videos, which are the same picks as my quick picks. Maybe the round might be a little bit different, but same fighter, and that's where it matters most. Generally, who are you picking? And the method could change a little bit, but who are you picking? In quick picks, is the same fighter. In full card fight prediction video, the same fighter. But yeah, but now I'm just clearing all that confusion so nobody can try to pull that on me again or try to say this, try to say that. And it's just straight up just examining the fight for what it is, I guess, roughly looking at it, then making maybe some some rough bets, I guess. And maybe even that might change. It might just be a case where I go back to how this video concept was originally, where it just literally be not saying what the pick is, but kind of saying, how I see this fight could potentially going either way. But even right now, I really don't know what I'm about to do in this video. This really is coming off the top of my head. You getting my head processing live as you watch this video. So 2 minutes in, what did you get out of this video? Not much. But anyway, first fight, we got Maxim Grisham versus Felipe Lins in the light heavyweight division. This phone is annoying. Yeah. And how I see it is, I think getting a distance could look good here, potentially. And that's probably gonna be a decision fight. Grisham ain't a big finisher. Lins, he got one finish in the UFC and that was over. I mean, he is aggressive, but Grisham is just as good, if not better than him. That just me trying to not give my pick out there, even though I kind of just gave it out there. I'm not, let me say I'm not picking Lins. I'm saying I'm not picking Lins. I'm not just not saying my official pick. I'm just saying I'm not picking Lins unless I see something else. So basically I'm picking Grisham right now. Well, basically I picked Grisham already in the past when they was supposed to fight, and I'm picking him again. But yeah, ain't saying this is my pick though. I ain't saying this is my pick. But anyway, Maxim Grisham versus Felipe Lins. I'm going what I'm saying. What am I saying? What am I saying? What am I not saying? But yeah, with this one, I think it's a decision probably most likely. I think Lins could get knocked out if he comes over aggressive and Grisham's able to counter him. A finish is definitely on the table, but I think this is gonna be a decision fight. So overs and decision looking good either way you play it. But general decision, general over. So you don't have to pick a particular fighter, but it's a general decisions and over is looking good in this one. Is all I'm gonna say. And also, it's like Grisham's kind of up there in age. When you start to get up there in age, like finishes don't materialize that much for you. Like you start to get 38, 40. You start to see women's MMA, man's MMA. The finishes don't come as often. Some fighters just like going to be that guy. Like I'll finish you even when I'm 60 years old. But like typically, every fighter's averages start to dip off. Whether they fight in the best competition or not fight the best competition, around 40 they start becoming decisionators. Yeah, next fight we got in the bantamweight division we got Luan Lacerda versus Damon Blackshear. And probably another fight with an over decision type feel to it. I feel like Serta is good enough to not get this tapped out by Damon Blackshear. Now I feel like Damon Blackshear is strong enough in the earlier rounds that I feel in the later rounds, it's not like Luan Lacerda gonna come on and finish him. I feel like, also has Blackshear really been finished like that? I feel like he's been finished by maybe once or twice by a striker. But Luan Lacerda's kind of guy in the middle or kind of here, kind of there. So I see like Luan Lacerda finishing Blackshear. I can see Damon Blackshear finishing Lacerda. more so in my opinion. But I think this one will go over. I think one gonna go to a decision, like probably a real close fight. To be honest, I think Blackshear gonna look good early, but he definitely has a fading tendency. But hey, not good looking early, he could get a finish. But right now, I would say overs and decision looking good in this one as well. So yeah, next one we got in the women's strawweight division, we got Jinu Frey versus Elise Reed. And decisions and over looking good in this one. But if I would say in the distance, I would say Elise Reed. Elise Reed is 30 years old or 30, 31. So she's either 30 or a little bit older than 30. I ain't gonna look into her age though. She's exactly 30 in 8 quarters. Like I ain't gonna do all that. She's 30 on paper and roughly 31. So either way, she's like right in her prime right now. And Junior Frey is like pushing 40 and coming off a knockout loss. So a Reed, at least Reed in the distance could be juicy. Matter of fact, I don't think. Matter of fact, I'm gonna say that. I don't think at least Reed hasn't really shown no knockout power, so it's gonna be a decision. So this is yet another over decision type fight right here. I don't think Junior Frey ain't shown no stopping ability in the UFC, and again, up showing that 40, that upward age. Typically, you ain't gonna get a finish from them at that point. So Junior Frey's like she's the only way she's gonna win, seemingly by decision or like a DQ or like a cut, something like that. Which I'm not saying happened in this fight. I think it's gonna be a decision fight either way. So over looking good, but if there's a good odd on at least reading the distance, maybe at least read TKO, which I feel it has a good chance of hitting, and I feel like it should have good value, maybe plus 1,000, maybe more. Maybe you can pick the round, maybe like a second round, maybe first round, whatever the case may be. But at least Reed hasn't shown to be no power punch, so this is likely going to be a decision either way. So, but again, if the value is there, I definitely think the finished value is going to be on Reed's side, is what I'm saying. But I would not play that for no plus 500. I need it to be like plus 900 or more for it to be a good play, in my opinion. Now to the next one, we got in the bantamweight division. We got Daniel Santos versus Johnny Munoz Jr. And this is looking like an in the distance. If you're leaning Munoz Jr., it's like decision. I don't think Munoz Jr. is finishing anyone unless they're like some guy that's really like 105, like what Jamie Simmons he beat, and that other guy he ain't finished. But yeah, Munoz Jr. like his path to victory is only decision. So you like him Munoz, and you just kind of want to be on the safe side. Like I like Munoz and I want him to win, or I think he's gonna win. They probably just play decision because even if he doesn't lose, hopefully he makes it. I mean, even if he doesn't win, hopefully he makes it to the decision and the decision catches out of the way. But the only way he's going to win, I feel, is going to be by the side. I don't think he knocks Munoz out. I mean, I don't think he knocks Santos out. I don't think he submits Santos. I think his only path to beat Santos is by outworking him. And yeah, that's probably his only path to beat him is by decision, in my opinion. I mean, the other things are definitely open, but as far as what I will see with good accuracy that'll happen or good likelihood or good percentage is decision for Munoz. So if you want to just be on the safe side and you kind of lean more on Munoz, just bet a general decision because whether he lose, I mean, if he wins, it's only going to be by decision. Then if he loses, hopefully he like again makes it to a decision, so he still cash it regardless. Daniel Santos on the side, I feel like you lean to Daniel Santos. I feel in the distance is definitely one of the better plays. Decision could be a good play as well, but I'm definitely liking in the distance for Daniel Santos. But hey, if the in the distance is about the same value as Daniel Santos in the distance, then that's another play we could just play the general thing. It's just like minus 300 versus minus 200. I mean, plus 300 versus plus 200. Just go with Daniel Santos. We'll just go with plus 200 in the distance or plus 200 TKO or something. And hopefully that catch. But I think in the distance probably the better play because I think, can Munoz get a sub? I don't know. I think it's only decision, so I don't know. Matter of fact, that probably be a play like I don't see Munoz knocking on one. I don't see Munoz submitting him. I'll get no finish. So it's just like you just gonna play that one. Just play that fully. Go for it. Go for Santos and go for it in the distance, or go for Santos and KO. But hey, that's another thing. If it's in the distance for Dan Santos is just as roughly as good as KO or sub, just go in the distance because he's still a fresher face fighter, so you don't know what he is or what he isn't yet. He hasn't had a chance to really have these fights that you can say, "Oh, I know who this guy is yet." We still don't know who this guy is. So yeah, try to play it as safe as possible, I guess. But yeah, Dan Santos in this looking good. General decision looking good if you want to try to cover the whole scope of Munoz. Like win or lose, Munoz, his only path to victory is by decision, in my opinion. In my honest opinion. Next fight we got in the heavyweight division. Andre Arlovsky versus Dontel Mays, and this is another clear decision. I think Arlovsky was like 40 something, 43 years old, been around forever, versus Dontel Mays, who hasn't shown that real knockout power or anything like that. He hasn't shown to really hurt no one, like wobble no one, drop no one in the UFC. And Arlovsky's a solid guy, veteran, former champion. Yeah, And again, Arlovsky's up in that 40 range. He's in the plus 40, 40 plus. So yeah, 40 plus. And you know his current path of winning has been stick and move decision type victory. So Arlovsky likely only going to win by decision at this point in his career. And Downtown Mays has not shown no knockout power, so only decision. And this is definitely one of these fights where it could be wonky, where it be a close, ugly, weird fight, and Mays somehow wins off a one sloppy takedown he secures in the last round, and then he gets a split decision victory. So hey, maybe split decision might be a good option here. Maybe decision, but I think regardless, overs and decision should be like the hoop should be as wide as the Atlantic Ocean. Like that thing should go in no matter how you shoot. You can shoot with your eyes closed, you can flip it, you can do it like that, you can spin it on top of your head and roll it over. The decision should go in no matter what. But I'm not saying you should bet your whole house on it because it's that easy. But I'm saying you can bet a good bit of money on there and feel pretty safe that this one is going to go to a decision right here. So, yeah, that's my dose on that one. Next one we got in the bantamweight division, we got John Castaneda versus, hey, this is a new fight, Muin Gafarov. And yeah, I honestly don't know how to feel about this one. But Muin Gafarov versus John Castaneda. Is Gafarov really that much of a finisher? Is Castaneda this, Castaneda that? I mean, this one I'm just going to I'm gonna skip it. I don't know. I gotta look into Muin Gafarov. I know Castaneda be coming and bringing the heat, and he can finish fights. What I gotta know is Gafarov's tough enough to maybe endure that heat, maybe make a decision fight out of this, maybe endure a first round and start to score takedowns. How's Castaneda's takedown defense? I need to look more into that to see whether this is a good decision fight, good over fight, or is this a fight that could end in distance? I feel like right now it's such a volatile fight. It's kind of a fight where, hey, whatever the best value is, I feel it could end that way. Well, looking more like, I don't know, Gafarov probably could get all options. Where I feel like Castaneda probably could get knockout decision, whereas Gafarov I feel like potentially get submission. Gafarov could potentially get TKO, like positional TKO, ground and pound, and he could potentially get a decision, probably grind out wrestling over him. But I gotta look at it more. I really don't know because I looked at some of these other fights already, but this fight I have not looked at. But hey, first look. Next fight we have in the 170 division, we got Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos, or Elizeu Zaleski. I guess he broke away from the dos Santos. Like, yeah, he wanted to be his own man. I don't know. Elizeu Zaleski versus Abubakar Nurmagomedov in the welterweight division. And on Abubakar Nurmagomedov's side, yeah, decision is the only thing likely for him. I don't see him knocking Zaleski out. I see his best path to victory is decision. So again, general decision, that's going to cash regardless. You know, if you like Abubakar Nurmagomedov, the general decision likely going to cash. Well, you know, if he's going to win, you pick general decision. His only path to victory seems like, you know, you're just trying to limit the leakage, and you like Abubakar Nurmagomedov, then the general decision and like the value is good there or close enough. And I guess lean Abubakar. Like, you know, if you lean Abubakar, general decision. If it's close enough, lean just general decision. So in the case of Elizeu Zaleski, just somehow gets nod, or it's a close enough fight, or maybe Zaleski just dominates him, but somehow it's still Abubakar is tough enough and game enough to make it to a decision and still like be able to make it to the scorecards. Then the decision still cashes. But what you know for sure is that if Abubakar wins, it's going to be decision only. It seems. So this is a general decision will cover pretty much all paths Abubakar has to victory. And hey, if Zaleski shifts to the dog, hey, it could be a good play to put Zaleski majority line, or what, money line? I said majority line. Money line, and then general decision, because it could catch where Zaleski catches the dog. Potentially, he's not the dog right now, I don't think, but he catches the dog, and somehow like Abubakar is able to make it to a decision. So you get Zaleski catching for the money line, and you get him catching for the money line, you get him catching for a decision, because general, well, not him decision, but this is a general decision catcher because it made it to a decision. But yeah, I'm not too sure about this one. I definitely think Abubakar Nurmagomedov is very game in this one right here. But Zaleski does bring some interesting challenges for him in the BJJ, in the striking department. He's not an easy guy just to lay on. You know, he got some good sweeps, good reversals. He got some good submission attempts. He knows how to use submission attempts to get, you know, people to release that pressure off him on the ground and work his way back to the feet. But what he's like, he's getting like up there, Nate. I think like 36, 37. 36, like kind of like, you kind of get in there. And the 37, like, you kind of close. The 38, like, damn, it's about over, depending on who you are. But hey, you want to play Abubakar Nurmagomedov decision? That's another good value. That probably, I imagine, probably gonna be like plus Well, he's already a dog, so that's probably be about plus 300, I think. When it really starts to settle in on most betting sites, I think it's probably about plus 300. But yeah, with this one, like in only Nurmagomedov have ever been stopped by TKO on the feet. So, and it's lucky, like I was saying with a lot of this fight, that age factor. Zaleski is starting to get up there in age, so he might be able to submit people that have poor grappling issues. That might be his path to victory over some people. I mean, he did mix that one dude up in his last fight, but that was like 2 years ago now. Like did that fight even get stopped? I feel like it should have been stopped, or was it stopped late? But again, I'm not really looking into everything just yet. This is just off the top for the most part. Really ain't no deep dive. But I feel like most likely outcome for this fight, I feel like it's gonna be a general decision. Zaleski is getting up there in age, and Abubakar Nurmagomedov is more so a decision fighter. I haven't really seen him finish anyone, so he's not a decision. He's not really a finisher like that, or hasn't proven to be no finisher yet. Zaleski is game enough and skilled enough and well rounded, so he ain't gonna get this overwhelmed. He might get outworked and laid on maybe. And again, Nurmagomedov hasn't been stopped. He hasn't really stopped no one. He hasn't been stopped as far as he got subbed, but I think he'd be aware of Zaleski. I think with the sub loss he had, I don't think he was respecting his opponent's sub game that well. It wasn't like a guy like, oh, this guy's on BJJ beast or nothing. It was like, I don't know, some journeyman dude. Who cares? Then the journeyman caught him in the journeyman trap. So yeah, it was a case like he didn't respect it. So well, Zaleski is not gonna be a case where he's gonna be unaware or not respecting his game. He respects Zaleski, so I don't see Zaleski finishing him. Definitely not no BJJ or no sub. So maybe a knockout potentially, but again, getting up to age, I don't think that knockout gonna materialize on him for him. So general decision looking pretty good here. And Abubakar, especially as a dog, I think is a good dog to be honest. So good dog. Maybe if you want to go all for it and say Abubakar decision, that wouldn't be a bad play in my opinion. You probably get a good value for it. Next one we got in the let's see, what weight class is this? We got in the lightweight division. Well, yeah, lightweight division. We got Guram Kudalaze versus Jamie Malarkey. And how I feel about this one is this is an interesting matchup for sure. This could definitely end in the distance. Could it end in the first round? Possibly. Well, one thing I will say, I feel like Guram Kudalaze, he's a solid fighter, but like in my honest opinion right now, I feel like he's very overrated for what he has accomplished or has not accomplished. He's like 1-1 in the UFC. He got in reality, I feel like he could be 0-2 in the UFC. What's that dude name? I forget his name. But yeah, dude who just beat Jalen Turner. Sometimes I know exactly what I'm talking about, but sometimes the name just elude me. You're like, you can fill in the blank for me, but like, and I ain't gonna go pause the video, search it up. Like, that's such an easy thing to do. I just don't feel like doing it. But I know exactly what I'm talking about. But I feel like he could be 0-2 in the UFC, or should be 0-2 in the UFC. I feel like he lost pretty clear enough to the guy he did get a win over. And then he was absent with injuries for like a year or two or some long time. Then he came back and lost to Demir Ismagulov in a close fight. And it's not a case of like, oh, I'm saying he's a bad fighter, but I think he's kind of on the overrated side, and I feel like Jamie Malarkey is a little bit on the underrated side. Does that mean I'm picking Jamie Malarkey? No, but that is saying that I'm not. It's not a fight where I'm like everybody's like, oh my gosh, this is the lock of the card. That's not me. I don't feel like this is the lock of the card. It's not the lock of the card at all, in my honest opinion. I feel like this one is, and also like when Kudalaze, both his fights were split decision, like were like I don't know if both was. I know that his win was a split decision, but his loss was yet another close fight. So it's not like he's a guy that has blown anyone out of the water. He's fought some very good competition, but he has not blown anyone in UFC out of the water. Say, oh my God, this guy is this beast. This guy was a stud and he destroyed him. He has not yet had that performance. So it's kind of weird that people are, also not like Malarkey is this guy that's going to necessarily look to just wrestle him. And Kulaze has shown good wrestling defense. And then he's going to be a sitting duck on the feet when Kulaze is able to defend his takedown. It's not even that. So, yeah, it's an interesting matchup. It could easily go to decision. Matter of fact, all the Kulaze's fights have gone to decision. So decision looking pretty good. Yet another fight where the over is looking good, but I definitely think this is a fight where you can play the under. I feel like Malarkey, if he wins, it's going to only be decision. So yet again, where one guy on the fight, his only path to victory is the decision. I feel like even though Kulaze hasn't shown no finish, like hasn't really finished no one in the UFC, and both his fights were close decisions, and hasn't really hurt no one like that in the UFC yet. I think there's a finish definitely on the table for him, especially, having these years injured and doing this and that. I feel like he's going to really need a finish to, like, again, to a lot of people, they're like, oh my gosh, I love this man. He's so good. He's so this, he's so that. But in reality, it should not be that. No one should love this man. He hasn't shown nothing to be loved about. And I feel like he's got to give something, prove something. I feel like that's to be his mindset. He got to prove something. Not to the fact where you just feel like you got to prove something, you go out to make a mistake, but to the fact where you got to prove something, and that just makes you train harder. And you come in and you do all the right things so that you can put on a performance. At least gives you the best chance to show that why there is hype around you. And I feel like that could be this thing. So definitely in the distance on the table, but I feel like it's only leaning in Kulazi. I feel like if Malarkey wins, it's only going to be decision, but I feel like his Kulazi win, it could be a TKO or it could be in the distance. But I think maybe over 1.5 should be pretty safe. But decision in maybe over 2.5, I don't feel like that's all the safest. But over 1.5 should be pretty safe. But decision not that safe in this one. In the distance is pretty good. But again, I'll probably say just in the distance. Now I probably might do general KO if it's close enough. But if it's like some minus 300, I probably might just like, let me just go full on Kudalaze, maybe, if I want to play that play. But that's my thoughts on that one. Next one we got in the women's flyweight division, we got Karine Silva versus Caitlin Souza. And I really don't know with this one. I really don't know with this one right now. Caitlin Souza it seemed like they have similar paths, but I guess typically these matchups are going to favor the one who has already had a chance to have experience in UFC. Caitlin, she had experience on the Contender Series, and she had experience by having an actual UFC fight. But Caitlin Souza seemed like she has more so a striker. They kind of like mirror images of each other, except striking versus grappling. But I haven't really seen Caitlin Souza's grappling yet too much in the tape study that I have done for her. I just see more so her dynamic striking. And Silva looks more like is the more so the grappler, but she has most of her losses have come by submission. Souza is more so the striker, but most of her stoppages losses have come by stoppages via strike. So it's kind of weird. Like they both have that parallel. Like you're a grappler, but you have lost most of your fights by grappling that you lost. You're a striker, but you have lost most of your fights by striking. And you have lost to at least one questionable striker, and you have lost at least to one questionable grappler. So it's like mirror images of each other except in different styles. But I guess that's the mirror effect. So I would to be honest, if I'm just drawing out a general thing, I can't really even say how I feel about this one yet. But I feel like I'm kind of leaning more Karine Silva right now. But as far as bets, I have no idea on this one. Again, 2-3 fights in UFC or under the UFC banner versus no UFC fights under the banner. UFC fights under the banner. So it's hard to kind of gauge them anytime with that. So really, in my opinion, I feel like I'm gonna leave that fight alone. And that's mine. I'm gonna leave that fight alone. It's okay to leave fights alone. You don't have to bet every single fight. You can leave some fights alone. You can leave some whole cards alone. Matter of fact, you can leave a whole year alone if you don't feel it. It's not about just throwing money up every single time. It's about, when you feel like you really have a good read, you did the right study and everything, clicking, that's when you go. Versus trading loss like that. Especially when you don't got no reason to have to do that. Like you don't got no platform or nothing. You just somebody that's like, I just want to make some money. Hey, you ain't got no pressure to do it, except your own gambling habits. But anyway, we got in the flyweight division, Tim Elliott versus Victor Altamirano. This one's low key. This is another weird matchup. I feel like Tim Elliott should win, but am I saying I'm leaning him just yet? I'm not sure just yet. Altamirano seemed like questionable wrestling defense, questionable grappling at times. Well, most thing questionable about him is his wrestling. So I feel like Elliott should be to get a lot of easy takedowns on him. And Elliott does seem to have good cardio as well. It's just a case of, and also Altamirano hasn't really shown no real good striking like that either. So I feel like in the distance could definitely be on the table. Maybe Elliott finishes. Matter of fact, I feel like if Elliott wins, it's probably gonna be a decision. But in the distance could be a good one here. But this one all depends. Like this is another one was kind of wishy-washy. Wherever one is the best value, that's how he may be played. Because I could definitely see a case where Elliott looking okay, and then he gets caught in some submission or something like that, and it happens. But matter of fact, this really having a decision. Yet another decision type fight. But if the value there in the distance is not crazy here, that's all I'm saying. It's not a case where decision, that's the smart bet. Decision the most likely bet. But in the distance, definitely, I feel like Altamirano could pull off an upset. And I also feel like Elliott could come in here and also get a finish, just dominate him on the ground and tap him out, or just get him flatten him out and just tap him to the right, pull him off. So a finish is definitely on the table, but decision looking most likely. Yeah. Next fight we got in the lightweight division, we got Jim Miller versus Jared Gordon. Or I said Gordon, Jared Gordon. And I think with Gordon, really his only path to victory are seeming like decision for Gordon. Whereas with Miller, he could definitely pull off a drop and sub or a drop and knockout. Especially with Gordon coming off, getting knocked out by a headbutt by Bobby Green only like what a week or two ago. So that's definitely a likelihood that could happen. That's definitely a likely possibility that could happen in this one. But yeah, I'll get another fight. I feel like most of these fights on this card have been like a decision. But hey, sometimes you get that, sometimes you don't. I feel like right now it's been like a decision type card. But if Jared Gordon is a dog, I think that he's a very good dog in this one. And I think he will end up a very good dog. I feel like a lot of people still love Miller. But I don't also think some of that love for Miller is very undeserved, to be honest. But yeah, this is gonna be a good fight. I feel like Gordon, the only way he's gonna win probably decision. Jim Miller's could finish all ways. He could finish on the feet, knockout. He could finish by a sub. He could win just by dropping sub. He could win by decision. But I think it's going to be a decision fight. And to be honest, I'm leaning Gordon. Gordon has good cardio. He has good skill set. And Miller has not been looking super. He's been having some of these resurgent fights. But I definitely remember those period of fights where he lost to with Vince Pichel, where it was basically who could take who down first, and they will hold the other one down the whole round, and he lost that fight. Slucky, same thing. Who could take whoever down and hold him down the rest of the fight. And yeah, so I feel like Gordon has one of the best paces in the game, and he definitely could outpace Miller and start to wear him down, out wrestle. And he did beat Selecki. He did outwork Selecki. So I feel like he outworked Miller. So Gordon decision looking good there, and that's just what I'm gonna say. Gordon decision looking good there, especially if he stays a dog or if he is a dog. Again, I'm not having really checked like that on odds. So yeah, next fight we got in the featherweight division. We got Alex Caceres versus Daniel Pineda. And this one, I would definitely say probably in the distance here. I feel like Caceres could finish him in the distance. Pineda, I feel like Pineda, if he wins, I feel like he's gonna be in the distance. I feel like he might knock Caceres out. He might sub Caceres, so in the distance looking good here. And I feel like Caceres can definitely catch him something wonky on the feet, knock him out or sub him. So in the distance, maybe I'm say sub. If sub has a good value, go with sub. But if not, I think general in the distance should be good. But you want to pick KO or sub, I think sub probably the best looking one, and I feel like it has a good chance of hitting for both fighters. A very good chance of hitting for both fighters. But only if the value is there, like plus 600, plus 700. But it's probably not gonna be that good for this general in the distance. It's probably gonna be pretty terrible for general in the distance. But probably for Caceres in the distance, probably like plus 500. Pineda in the distance probably gonna be like plus 600, 700, something like that. But definitely see that one not going the distance. I could definitely see that. It's not a one where it's like it's a volatile fight. Next fight we got in the main event, we got in the featherweight division, we got Kai Kara-France versus Amir Albazi. And I think overs are good as one. I think over 2.5. Well, I'm gonna say over 1.5 should be pretty safe. Over 2.5 should be playable. Like, playable enough, probably like 50% chance of catching. Over 1.5 should probably be like a 70% to 80% chance of catching. And yeah. But I also think this ends in the distance. Albazi hasn't really been in distance. Matter of fact, with Albazi, he hasn't really fought no one yet in the weight class. Now he's been jumped up to fight a guy who just came off an interim title shot. Was doing pretty good up until the body kick, or the momentum was shifting his way up until the body kick, and then the fight was over. Albazi seemed to, like, as far as he's wrestler, grappler, mostly hands. Don't really see too much kicks from him. So you're not saying no. I guess maybe a liver punch, but I ain't gonna see no liver kick or nothing like that from him. Kai Kara-France is the more tested, more experienced guy. Albazi, like 3 to 4 people Albazi have beat have either been cut or are about to be cut. And then he fought one debuting fighter. So he hasn't really fought the level of competition that Kai Kara-France has fought. And it's not like, what they like the same age, or France like maybe 1 year older, like 29 versus 31, or 32. Ain't no big age gap. And Kai Kara-France has been fighting much better competition. And win or lose, he's been fighting them, and he has beaten some of them as well. So yeah, this is interesting to note. Like, I'm still not sure who to pick yet, but interesting to note that Albazi's lack of experience, and it's not like he's coming here at 28 or 29 or 30 fighting a 38-year-old or 42-year-old. He's coming here and fighting a guy who's still roughly in his prime, and actually has still a viable chance to the title, especially if Moreno loses yet again to Pantoja, which could definitely happen. I'm not saying he will lose to Pantoja, but it's definitely a good chance he can lose to him. And then Kai Kara-France has yet another fresh face he can fight. And this fight will put him in a good position to maybe one win away from getting the title shot, or maybe one guy getting injured and he gets the title shot, something like that. But nonetheless, I think over 1.5, over 2.5 looks pretty good here. I don't think I would really go any further than that and maybe try to go decision. I don't think I would go decision. I think over 1.5, over 2.5 as far as I go. I want to go over 3.5. And now we start to play those in the distance as well, because I feel like Kai France could definitely extend him and maybe knock him out. Kai France got some heavy hands. And I feel like Amir Albazi could potentially maybe knock him out or sub him. I think finishes are definitely on the table for both guys. So general in the distance looking good. Maybe under 3.5 could be a good play. Over 1.5, over 2.5, and maybe under 3.5, trying to play that middle game a little bit. But yeah, as far as who to pick, I can't say. But yeah, another volatile fight. A guy who hasn't really been these rounds. And Kai France himself has not really been these rounds. He's been to some decisions for 3-round fights, but he hasn't really had that 5-round experience. I haven't seen a fight where, he's in the UFC, he hasn't went 5 rounds. He hasn't had that experience. Now, Albazi hasn't even had a 5-round fight, nor has he really fought a relevant fighter in this weight class. He has not done that. So, two guys that have not, again, in some senses have not. Albazi, who hasn't been tested at all, and Kai France, who hasn't been able to complete the laps. So that's why in the distance looking pretty good here. I think this fight going to end in the distance. Whether Albazi is able to turn the momentum later or maybe get him out early, or whether Kai France is, get him out early or turn the momentum. I think regardless, it's kind of going to be one of those for either guy or something like that. And in the distance, definitely good, but I don't think it'll be a case where it's going to be one guy going to go out there and just steamroll out the guy early. And I feel like the most likely guy to do that would be Kai France, maybe steam Albazi in the first 2 rounds or under 2 rounds or less. Where I feel like Albazi might have worked for a little bit, had to wear him down over the course of rounds, then tap him out or something. But yeah, nonetheless, I think in the distance, in under 3.5 or under 3.5, looking good for that one. Looking good for that one. So in the distance, over maybe 1.5, over 2.5, and maybe under 3.5. That's where I'm at right now with this fight. And that's all I really got for you at the moment for this card right here. And that's the video. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and come back for more videos. Peace.